Welcome to another Math Ninja Pro video.
In this video, we are going to learn how to expand and simplify algebraic expressions. And in order to do this successfully, let's recap some Set 1 algebra. Okay, so if I have 3 times of 4x squared, what should be my answer? Alright, so to work out the answer, I need to multiply 3 and 4, the numbers together, so that will give me 12. And then I multiply the variable, which is x squared, so my answer is 12x squared. Alright, how about negative 2x times negative 3x? So again, I look at the number negative 2 times negative 3. Negative number times negative number will give me positive number. So 2 times 3 will give me 6. Then I look at the variable. I have x times x. That will give me x squared. Alright, for question number 3, I have negative 5 times negative 2x squared. So negative 5 times negative 2, the number will give me positive 10. Then the variable is only x squared, so my answer is 10x squared. Looking at question 4 now, I have 7x squared multiplied by negative 3x. So again, if I look at the numbers, it's 7 times negative 3. So positive number times negative number will give me negative. 7 times 3 will give me 21. X squared times x will give me x cubed. Alright, for question number 5, I have negative half x times 4x. So again, looking at the numbers, I have negative half times 4. A negative number times positive number will give me negative. Half times 4 will give me 2. Then x times x will give me x squared. Alright, so if you know these basic skills, then you are ready to learn how to expand and simplify algebraic expressions. So let's look at this. If I have a times of b plus c, what this means is I have a multiplied to b plus c. So I can think of this as having a rectangle and trying to find the area of the rectangle where the breadth is a and the length is b plus c. Okay, so if I have b plus c, I can think of the length of the rectangle as splitting into 2 parts, where one part is b and the other part is c. Alright, so this will give me b plus c. So in order for me to find the area, which is actually the length b plus c times the breadth a, or in other words, a times of b plus c, as we see here. Alright, what I can do is I can think of finding the area of the 2 parts. So I have this area here, which is actually a times b. So the area is actually ab. And similarly, the other area, alright, is actually a times c. So the area is AC. So the total area, which is actually given by a times of b plus c, the length times breadth, is equal to the area of the 2 parts, AB plus AC. So I can find the expansion by thinking of the area model. Alternatively, I can also find the expansion by thinking of the distributive law or property that we have learned in Set 1. Okay, remember in Set 1, we learned that if we want to find the product of a times b plus c, we can distribute a into b and c. Okay, distribute it into every term in the bracket. So what we will have is a times b, ab, plus a times c, ac. Okay, notice that the answers, right, are exactly the same whether you use the area model or the distributive law. Okay, so let's try to think of this product A plus B times C plus D, right, using the area model first. So if I think of it using the area model, then I can think of the breadth being A plus B and the length being C plus D. So finding the area of A plus B times C plus D is the same, alright, as finding the area of this rectangle over here. And to do that, I have actually 4 parts. Okay, so the first part, alright, the area would be equal to A times C, so it's AC. The second part, my area would be equal to A times D. The third part, the area would be equal to B times C, which is BC. And finally, my area over here would be equal to B times D, which is BD. In other words, the area of this rectangle, which is given by A plus B times C plus D, would be equal to the area of these 4 parts, which is AC plus AD plus BC plus BD. If I were to use the distributive law, okay, I can also distribute A into C and A to D, and then I can distribute B to C and B to D. And when I do that, what I would have is A times C, which is AC, plus A times D, which is AD, plus B times C, then plus B times D. If you look carefully here, do you realize that our answers are exactly the same, whether you find the product or the expansion using the area model or using the distributive law. However, the area model is very troublesome because you have to keep drawing the rectangles, and the area model also has a limitation because you cannot use negative numbers, right? So it is more convenient for us to do the expansion using the distributive law. Okay, so let's look at some examples of how we can apply the distributive law. Alright, so let's look at the first example. Supposing I have 3x plus 2 multiplied by x minus 5. Okay, so in order to use the distributive law, I need to distribute 3x to x and 3x to negative 5. And similarly, I need to distribute 2. I need to distribute 2 to x and 2 to negative 5. So what would my answer be? Okay, I will have 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times negative 5 is negative 15x. 2 times x is 2x. And 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Right, so here I would notice that I have like terms, negative 15x and 2x, which I can collect together to simplify. So negative 15x plus 2x will give me negative 13x. Then I have negative 10. Right? Because there are no other like terms, so I cannot simplify further. So this is my final answer. Okay, let's look at another example. Example 2. So supposing now I have 2x minus 1 times negative x plus 3. Again, let's use the distributive law to do this. So we will distribute 2x to negative x and 2x to 3. Then we will distribute -1 to -x and -1 to 3. So what answer would we get here? Okay, we have 2x times -x is -2x squared. 2x times 3 will give us 6x. -1 times -x will give me +x. And finally, -1 times 3 will give me -3. Again, we can see that we have the like terms 6x plus x. So we can collect them together. So we have -2x squared plus 7x minus 3. Alright, let's look at one last example. Example 3. We have half x plus 8 multiplied to 4x minus 3. Even though we have fractions here, right, the method is exactly the same. Alright, we will do by distributive law, we will distribute half x to 4x and half x to -3. We will also distribute 8 to 4x and 8 to -3. Okay, so what answer are we going to get? Half x times 4x would give me 2x squared. How I get 2x squared? Because I have half times 4, which will give me 2, and x times x, which would give me x squared. Alright, next I would have half x times -3, which would give me -3 over 2x. Next, I have 8 times of 4x, which will give me 32x. And finally, I would have 8 times of -3, which would give me -24. Alright, so are there any like terms that we can collect together? Certainly. Can you see? We have -3 over 2x plus 32x. Right, these are like terms. Alright, so let's simplify by collecting the like terms together. 2x squared, there are no further like terms, so it's just 2x squared. -3 over 2x is like -1.5x plus 32x. That will give me 30.5x, then minus 24. Alright, and this would be my final answer. So that's how you expand algebraic expressions.
Remember to like, subscribe, and keep coming back for more Ninja level math videos.